In this lesson, we're going to create a texture for our model airplane. And again, in the last lesson, of course, created our texture map and laid all of our UV shells out. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take and create a map that we can use. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my browser, and I'm going to I'll start with Archive Textures, which is a nice texture site. And the way Archive Textures works is it's a website that has obviously lots and lots of pages, but it has your wood, has a wood image, and it comes up in an image. If you want to see all the wood images, go to your wood category, and it will give you, you can see you got quite a few pages. And the textures are varying size. In this case, wood is this one particular one is 2300 by 3200. And so what you do is just click on the image and download it, and it pops up in your window. The textures are generally pretty good quality, and so they're go ahead and use them. Now, what's really important is you look at the use and the terms and conditions of your license that they're granting you. Most of them are free, royalty free, but you want to always make sure that always look at the license agreement. So under the 3D Total textures, you can go to texture and then go to wood, and it gives you all these kind of images that you've got here. So if you find one you like, click on it, then it will pop up. And what it'll do is it'll give you the image, but it'll give you download larger, and then downloads the original size. The original size is generally pretty substantial, and it downloads in JPEG form. Download original, and it automatically downloads to your downloads folder. The site that I like and that I've used for a number of years is called cgtextures.com. Now, cgtextures.com, these textures are generally all very high quality. So I'm going to go to wood. We got some good fine wood textures, but I'd like to go to plywood. And the reason why I like to go to plywood is, if you think about it, it is basically made up of wood that has been shaved off of a log and flattened out, which is kind of what we want to do with our texture mapping. Now, the way this works, I'll go ahead and open this link in a new window since we're here, is you basically register for a free account, and it gives you 15 megabytes per 24 hours, okay? And you sign in with all of your information, and then you can download 15 megabytes. Well, how much is 15 megabytes? Well, 15 megabytes is, let me see here, I'm going to go to page 2 because that's the one that has the one I want. It's this one particular. 15 megabytes is however many images of whatever size you download. So if I click on this image, okay, it will give me, there's my quota left. And basically the large 3000 by 3000 file is going to be 3.2 megabytes. So basically I'll have left I'll use 1/5 of my quota by downloading that image. And basically you can right click and download your link file wherever you want. Now, I have already done so, and so I'm going to go over to Photoshop, and here is this plywood file. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my marquee tool, and I'm going to change my style to fixed size, and it's width 1024 by 1024. I can use 2048 by 2048 if I want, but 1024 by 1024 works. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click somewhere in here where I get a nice grain pattern, and I'll click on that, and I'll copy it, and I'll create a new file. That's 1024 by 1024, and I'll paste this into this file. Now, what I get is I've got some spots and I've got some cracks. So I'm going to go in with my magical Band-Aid tool, and I'm going to get rid of that as closely as I can. I'm going to change the hardness of my brush to 10% or to 0% so that it's hard brush, because I find that work the best here. And I'm also going to get rid of some of these knots because I don't need them. And the dark spots, I'm going to wind up making quite a few maps here off of this particular image. And I'm going back and forth across different sides of the path that I want to travel. I'm clicking and painting. Okay, that way I don't get anything that's repetitive that's going to look, basically option clicking and painting. Now, the option clicking is a point because later on in a later lesson, we're going to do some of this in Mudbox. And in Mudbox, it's control clicking. So I'm going to have a finger dance issue that may cause a problem. All right, and all of these cracks, and I'll even take out this knot or get close to it. I don't want to be sloppy, but I'm just doing it because I don't want these to come out in the worst place. It looks like I accidentally moved it. Great. All right. Do that. Get rid of these little guys. Doing some simple texture preparation. I'm going to do that. That's too much. All right, that can stay. Oop, looks like I moved that one over. Now I have my snaps on. So if we go to View, Snap to Guides and Layers, I have those checked. So that's what those pink lines are in Photoshop. So I'll just get rid of these little dots. And this is pine wood. So, and once we've come to that point, once we've got to this point, what I'm going to do next, I'll zoom back out. That looks pretty good. What I'm going to do next is I want to make this a 2048 by 2048 texture. Now we're working in square textures. That's important. So I'm going to go to canvas size, and I'm going to change this immediately to pixels, and I'm going to move the dot down to the lower corner because I'm going to expand this. I've got relative checked, so I'm going to expand this to 20 by 1 unit, 1024 by 1024, and this will make the entire texture 2048 by 2048, and we'll click OK. All right, so there's my final texture. I'll type Command 0 to bring that in. Now what I can do is I'm going to press Command J to duplicate my layer, and I can pull this over. And you can see that's not quite right, but what I can do next is I can go to Edit, not Image, and I'm going to go to Flip Horizontal. Okay, now what that does is that makes that texture along the center line pretty much seamless, and it also matches up on the ends here. So I'll press E, then I'll press Command J again, and pull this up like so. And now I'll flip it vertically. I'll go to Edit, Transform, Flip Vertical. Now I'll press Command E and then E again, and that gives me a seamless texture, a seamless wood texture. And if I really want to, I can get rid of this center line, kind of like so. Might increase the size of my brush and finish off down here. Okay, so now I've got my seamless texture, and I'm going to do a file save as, and I'm going to save it to my source images folder, and I'm going to call this wood color. I'm going to make it a TIFF, and click save. Okay, we'll click OK. And there we go. So now we've got this texture. Now we're going to come back to this. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to increase its contrast. So I press Command M to bring up my curves box. You can do this with levels, although to be honest, I really like to use the curves command because it lets me give this a little bit richer of a color if I want, and really lets me bring out the wood grain quite a bit. And then we'll click OK, and I'll save it. Okay, so there's our wood color. Let's go to Maya, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to, for now, I'm going to give this a texture, and I'll go to my Hypershade. It'll take a moment to come up. Now the Hypershade in 2016 has changed dramatically. I'm going to go to Mental Ray Materials, and I'm going to click on, I'm going to use the MIA Material X for now. Now I get a red dot in here, or a red bar, and what that means, that's a warning. That means that I have not set my renderer to be Mental Ray. So I want to make sure to do that. Now, if it doesn't show up at all, if there's no Mental Ray, you're going to need to go to Windows, Settings, Preferences, Plugin Manager, and load your Maya to MR plugin. All right, so now I've got my Materials X here. I'm going to use Color, Diffuse Color, and I'm going to use a File, and I'm going to bring in that wood color. For now, I'm going to change in my MIA material. I'm going to change my reflectivity. I'm going to drop that a little bit. Maybe I might bring my glossiness down a bit. And I'm going to call this MIA wood. Okay, and this, I'm going to select all of my objects, and I'm going to right click on MIA wood and assign material to selection. There's my wood texture. Okay, I'm going to pull off my wood, my wireframe on shaded, and I'll see that it actually looks pretty good as is. I can smooth this, and I'll get an even better look at it. And everything looks pretty good based on what we've done so far. I can also press A in my window here, and there's my file, and there's my place 2D textures. Now what I can do here for this is I can change my repeat U and V to 2. And that's going to tighten up my wood grain quite a bit. And that I may find I like better. Now the other thing I see I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to make some changes to my UV map. Okay, and so what I think we'll do is we'll save that. We'll do that in the next lesson.